So we have all definitely had our fun at Donald Trump's expense when he said they're eating the dogs in Springfield, Ohio. The memes have been absolutely off the charts. I've laughed at a whole lot of those. So many video clips that people have edited and put together have been pretty hilarious. And this has been a very stressful election. And so I don't blame anyone for trying to find a little bit of comic relief somewhere in all this madness. But I think it's time that we do stop for a minute and reflect on this and realize that, yeah, we've all had fun at this, but it's a much more serious issue than we may realize. And I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade or make anyone feel bad for having a few laughs. But this is a very serious topic that Donald Trump has now made worse by making these ridiculous, unfounded claims. And then now it's just become the talk of the internet. These claims that Donald Trump have made have been debunked, but it doesn't stop him from saying it. It doesn't stop JD Vance from saying it, and it doesn't stop his followers for continuing to push it around. And that's just one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone says, well, I read it on the internet, or I saw it on Facebook, or someone told me about it. Someone at work was telling me that they heard from someone else, that they heard from someone else. None of those things are evidence. None of those things are facts. And until you can actually bring them, then a bunch of he said, she said, I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend. None of those things are relevant. And so this is a very serious topic. There is a whole lot to be said about this. And I want to go to this clip here from Representative Ilhan Omar. She brings across a really good point that this sort of racist dog whistle and racist conspiracy does more damage than it does good, and it actually puts people in danger. Take a look at this, and then we're going to talk more about it.
And nuanced picture than what the Trump Vance campaign are painting about what's happening in Springfield. But when you hear a false claim like that amplified to nearly 70 million people, do you worry about what it means for the Haitian refugees who are living in places like that?
Well, first, I want to say just the insanity of having a senator, a candidate for vice president, and a former president, and now a candidate for president, really talking about memeing into reality a racist conspiracy, dangerous story like this. What it means is that there are so many people now who are looking for stories to make this true. And it gins up this dangerous reaction by folks who are unstable, in which then they go and try to protect these animals that they think that are being attacked by Haitian immigrants and cause harm to people who are already vulnerable, who came to this country seeking stability and safety and coming from situations that were already volatile. And I think, when we think about the bigger picture, is thinking about what kind of country do we want to be, right? Is this the kind of rhetoric and messaging that we want the world to see about who our leaders are and those, that could potentially be elected into the highest leadership in our office and in our country? And I think what Harris did so well last night was remind the American people that this manic, dangerous liar cannot be reelected as president of the United States, and how crucial it is for us not to go back to the dark and dangerous days of the Trump presidency.
Okay, folks, before we keep moving with this video, I just want to remind everyone that we have expanded my Patreon. The link is in the description of this video. We don't have any outside investors here on the channel, so if you would like to support what I do, you can go over to patreon.com, check out our tiers, check out the perks. I'm going to be putting a whole lot more content on there. There'll be exclusive, Patreon lives that we're going to be doing some live streaming. I've had a lot of people ask me about when are they going to get to hear me play some cover tunes. And we'll be able to do that on Patreon. So there'll be a lot of cool stuff going on over there. And if you want to support what I do, just check out the link in the description of this video. And I truly appreciate everyone for your support. But Omar is right there. This absolutely is insanity. And what is so sad is that a story like this can just get said on the internet. And if enough people throws gas on those flames, then it starts to catch on. And once you throw it out there into the world, someone will believe that it's true. And then when those stories gets debunked, they just feel as though that's the fake news media trying to silence the truth. I've said this so many times, but they've always got that built-in scapegoat, that built-in defense system's already there, that if you fact check or debunked any of their claims, then, oh, well, you're part of the fake news media just trying to come after our First Amendment right. And this has nothing to do with the First Amendment at all. This is a false story that now the man that wants to be the leader of the free world again and his running mate are still pushing, even when people are saying to them, there's no evidence for it. Well, but we've heard people say it. And like she said, I love the line where she said they're memeing it into reality. That happens so much. And I see that so often on social media. A meme comes out and people believes it's true and they don't research it. They don't fact check it, because if it fits their preconceived notion of what they already thought, or it feeds into their fear, they'll go ahead and believe it. And they will go ahead and they will look for those kind of stories. But when those kind of stories, like she said, when those kind of stories fall into the ears of unstable people, then they're going to go out there and try to take matters in their own hands. That's how we had January 6th. If you want to know what happens when conspiracy theories gets in unstable people's heads, just go back and watch the replay of January 6th. That's exactly what happened. And here is the governor of Ohio, who is a Republican and who says he's pulling for Trump to win this thing. And even he has to say, no, this story is not true and it's been debunked and there's no evidence for it. Roll the clip.
And Governor, I never thought, yes, it's a while ago, I never thought I would ask you a question like this. Is anyone with undocumented status in Ohio, is any legal citizen resident of Ohio eating dogs or cats illegally?
Well, Major, this is something that came up on the internet, and the internet can be quite crazy sometimes. And look, the mayor, Mayor Rue of Springfield, says no, there's no truth in that. They have no evidence of that at all. So I think we go with what the mayor says. He knows his city.
And there is a case in Dayton of a woman with mental health issues being alleged to have eaten a neighbor's cat, but she lived in Ohio, not an immigrant. And my reason of bringing this up, not only because the former president did it, but you have an immigration situation in Springfield. It's a serious one. It's an interesting one. Population about 58,000, about 15 to 20,000 Haitians under temporary protected status in Springfield. A good number of them, as I understand, Governor, have gone through the application process to get temporary work permits, are working, and in some cases relieving kind of a labor shortage there. But there have been other issues, health, some safety issues that you've tried to bring attention to. Would you not prefer, Governor, a more coherent conversation about immigration in Springfield, Ohio than was heard last night on the debate stage?
Well, Major, I think there's a couple things to be said about what's been going on in Springfield. And you pointed out the numbers. You know, when you put 15,000 people on top in a period of a couple years on top of a population of 58,000, that's not just the normal, you know, increase that we expect to see in regard to immigration. This is a massive number of people coming in. And I think it raises a couple questions. For us in Ohio, we're seeing a couple major challenges to go with this. And you're right, these Haitians came in here to work because there were jobs, and they have filled a lot of jobs. And if you talk to the employers, they've done a very, very good job, and they work very, very hard.
So I guess now MAGA is going to start calling this governor a rhino because he had to go on TV and admit that there's no evidence to back up these ridiculous claims. And it's so crazy to me how that people will put their faith in Donald Trump, and now they'll put it in J.D. Vance too. They'll put it in those guys. And people who have been Republicans and been in the political arena their entire careers, they will completely disregard anything they say because Trump said it, and if Trump said it, and if Trump said he heard it said somewhere else, then it has to be true. It's just so ridiculous to me. But in this next clip, they asked the governor, you know, how he feels about the immigrants being put in jeopardy, and this was his response. Roll the clip.
Do you worry at all, Governor, that immigrant community could be under greater jeopardy because of scapegoating language like the nation heard last night?
I think as I talk to the people in Springfield, they're concerned about the issues that I just talked about. But they will tell me these Haitians are working very hard. You know, They're trying to provide for their families. But what the people of Springfield are saying is it's just been so many people come in. It's not what we normally would expect. And frankly, Major, I think the federal government has to start looking at places like this and say, and treat it like you would a natural disaster. If we have a natural disaster in Ohio, we call the federal government, they come in and they do an assessment. And if they think that we don't have the resources in the community or the state to take care of that, then there is help provided. I think we need something like that in regard to when we have real big surges like we've seen in Springfield of immigrants coming in over a relatively short period of time.
You know, folks, I feel like the real problem here is that Donald Trump is never going to have the discussion on how do we fix these problems. He just wants to run on the fear, the hysteria, and the chaos. And the more fear and the more hysteria and the more chaos him and Vance can create, the more they can thrive because they don't have solutions. They have concepts of a plan. He's got concepts of a plan. And people are actually sitting back watching this madness going, I don't know who to vote for. They're both the same. Is that the only options we got? It's crazy to me that that's where we're at. But that's exactly where we're at, and we're going to be here for a while until people finally wakes up and realizes that we cannot keep letting Trump create this kind of hysteria. We have to bring the facts. We have to bring the evidence. And we have to stop demonizing just anyone that wants to come to this country for a better life. I thought we were all in agreement that the American dream was a good thing and that this is where people comes to make a better way for themselves. And if they're coming, they're working hard, and their employers saying they're working hard, I don't see any reason why anyone would want to take part in demonizing them or coming up with some racist conspiracy theory that just puts their life in danger. But folks, I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. I enjoy sitting down here every day and talking to you guys about these issues. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. It's the changing of the seasons here in East Tennessee, and we cut a field at my old property the other day, and ever since then, I have been struggling to get through a video without coughing or sneezing or clearing my throat or my nose running. So, you know, I'm very loose, very off the cuff. I don't have a script in front of me. I'm just flying off the seat of my pants with these things. So I'll go ahead and warn you over the next couple of days. You may get to hear old Brando sneeze or cough or clear his throat because I don't have very many takes left in me, to be honest. And the cigars are definitely not helping. So I love them. I enjoy them. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing good wherever you're at. And you know what, folks, just be good to people. Treat people with respect. And when you see someone, you know, coming into this country trying to make a better way for themselves, can you imagine just how on guard those people are constantly? So I would say if you can make them feel welcome and make them feel comfortable and, you know, help them understand that we're not all assholes, that would be really good. I used to work with a lot of Latinos, and I was their favorite employee to talk with because I wasn't a jerk to them and because I would sit and talk to them and hear them out and make them feel like they were one of us. I think that's what we need to do. We need more of that, and we need less of this division. And in the words of Kamala Harris, we need less of this same old tired rhetoric. Let's not go back to that. Let's move this country forward, and let's just try to pick up the pieces from what Trump left behind and make this a better place for all of us.